Hey guys, welcome back to Comics Obscurity. This is the channel where we talk about like little underground, behind the scenes, in the shadows stuff of your favorite comic book universes. We've been doing a couple of Marvel things, but we're gonna branch out in the future, do some DC, do some other smaller comic universes that you may or may not have heard of. And we're talking about S.H.I.E.L.D, this organization, and just how long they've been around and how deep their roots run in the Marvel universe. Now, right here we see Nick Fury. Nick Fury is the most well-known, this is the original Nick Fury, the most well-known of the directors of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was not the first director, but he's the most well-known, and Nick has done a whole lot of stuff in his time. Nick originated in World War II alongside Captain America, and most of his teammates he fought alongside in the Howling Commandos ended up working alongside him in S.H.I.E.L.D. And whereas Captain America had the super soldier serum and he was later frozen in ice for a number of years, Nick had the infinity formula that he was given by a scientist that prolonged his life. And the scientist, once he gave Nick this formula, he blackmailed Nick over the years. He had extorted millions of dollars from Nick to keep giving him doses of the infinity formula. And eventually the guy died or was killed. And we'll get into that in the future, because we're going to talk about what's going on with Nick Fury now. And some of that infinity formula stuff ties into just what's currently happening with Nick. Right now we're talking about Nick with S.H.I.E.L.D. So here we see the helicarrier, their base. They originated in the early 60s in Marvel Comics. And, he just was a cool hero. A lot of the artwork was great, had that nice hip 60s flavor to it. But S.H.I.E.L.D., even though Nick ran it in the 60s, it originated way back in ancient Egypt. Way back in ancient Egypt in the days of the pyramid, when the pyramids were young. And we see here these aliens known as the Brood. Those of you who were reading X-Men in the 80s know who the Brood are. Chris Claremont brought them in to the book. I think Dave Cockrum was doing some art on them. But the Brood, we learned here, attacked Earth during the days of ancient Egypt. And 3 men came together during those days to defend the Earth. One was this guy here, Imhotep, we see. Imhotep is looked at, and he's an actual historical figure. He's looked upon as the first architect, the original engineer. He originated all that stuff. He was made into a god after he died. He was such a well-respected man. We see here the original Moon Knight, the fist of the moon god, Khonshu, the Egyptian moon god. And we have a Moon Knight currently, but this was the original Moon Knight, the very first one back during the days of ancient Egypt. And the third man was a man, very major guy, named, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Ensabanur, I think it is. And he's a mutant. He's looked at as the very first mutant. He's a very powerful mutant. He was born back in these days. And we know him today as Apocalypse. This is when Apocalypse was young. So these 3 men came together and they defended the Earth from the Brood. And they decided afterwards, we need to keep something going. We need to have a shield to defend the Earth. And they based this around the shield that Imhotep carried. Carries that shield you saw in the image there. They based this on the concept of his shield. So they were the Brotherhood of the Shield back in the days of ancient Egypt. Now, I'm not going to get into all the detail because there's a whole lot of detailed stuff with these guys. But just to say, over the centuries, major people have been a part of the Brotherhood of the Shield, including people like Michelangelo, who was the Forever Man. Nikola Tesla, who became the Night Machine. These guys, they influenced the history throughout the Marvel Universe, the Brotherhood of the Shield, which eventually became what we know today as the Shield of Marvel, the comics and the movies, what you see in the movies as well. All right, so now Nick Fury, we go back to, he was serving double duty. He was the public face of S.H.I.E.L.D., but he was also behind the scenes doing stuff the superheroes didn't know anything about. He was the man on the wall. And what the man on the wall was Nick's job was to protect and watch the Marvel Universe and keep threats that were so big that no one could handle them. He could handle them. And he would do these things without no one knowing. In the meanwhile, nobody knew about this, but he was still working S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, S.H.I.E.L.D. has been around on the surface in the Marvel Universe since almost forever. Here we see an image from the very first issue of Captain America comics from, I believe, 1941. This is the first issue drawn by Jack Kirby, written by Joe Simon. And here we see Agent Peggy Carter. Now, here's an image of Peggy. She was Captain America's longtime World War II companion, portrayed in the movies by the lovely lovely Miss Haley Atwell we see right here, who played Peggy in the movies. Over here we see Howard Stark and Nathaniel Richards. Howard Stark, of course, Tony Stark's father, and Nathaniel Richards, the father of Reed Richards. These two guys chose Fury and appointed him to be the man on the wall. And like I said, Fury, as the man on the wall, had to protect the Marvel Universe. He had to keep an eye on the Marvel Universe. He had to make sure things were cool. For example, if some mysterious new hero showed up, Nick might have to take that guy down. We don't know who this guy is, what his intentions are. And Nick, in one particular instance, had his sniper rifle ready to take this new mysterious menace. The newspapers were all talking about this menace, and Nick, being the man on the wall, had to protect the Marvel Universe. He had to keep everything tight. And he almost took this guy down. And thankfully, he didn't take him down, because that young man that Nick had in his sights went on to become known as Spider-Man. So this is how deep Nick is. He would have taken Spider-Man out just to keep everything cool on his home planet. So yeah, the heroes were kept in the dark about the whole thing. And that's what Nick did, behind the scenes. On the surface, though, he was S.H.I.E.L.D. He was all S.H.I.E.L.D. And here we have some of the other members of S.H.I.E.L.D. that I grew up with in the comics as I was a kid. You had Clay Quartermain, who spent a good deal of time with the Hulk. When I was younger, he was a part of a good Hulk storyline. Here's SHARON Carter. I mentioned her. She's Peggy's grandniece or whatever they did to her at this point. Here's Maria Hill, who is the current director of S.H.I.E.L.D. currently. And Gabe Jones. Now, Gabe has stuck with Nick since the 1940s. He's been one of the guys with Nick, and he went on to go to S.H.I.E.L.D. with him. And we have Kate Waynesboro here hanging out with the Hulk. She was part of a major Hulk storyline that we are going to get to at some point in the future. We're going to talk about that Hulk storyline and the great writer who came up with it, Mr. Bill Mantlo. But Kate was also S.H.I.E.L.D. So yeah, these guys pretty much S.H.I.E.L.D. They police the Marvel Universe, and the roots go a whole lot deeper than most people think. As I said, the three founders of the organization known as S.H.I.E.L.D. are Imhotep, the original first Moon Knight, and our man Apocalypse, who later went on to become a menace to the X-Men. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Comics Obscurity. We're going to get back to you in the near future with some more stuff. Please leave a comment below if you want to talk about something in particular, anything that's interesting to you. If I made a mistake about something, please point it out to me. Hey, thanks again. This is Jack Dog Ty, and this has been Comics Obscurity.